Hello everyone! Dave is a modest middle-aged man who has no company in his life except his dog. Everything would be fine, except now he can turn into a dog. And all because his wife left him. After all, in his world, such a punishment is waiting those who are left in solitude. It all starts with some strange people in suits turning up at the lonely Dave's house and taking him away in an unknown direction. Together with his dog, he's settled in at a strange hotel. At the reception, he's asked no less bizarre questions like whether he has food allergies, which sex he's attracted to, and how long his last relationship had been. For some reason, Dave calls the dog he came with his brother. According to Dave, the brother was also a hotel guest a few years ago, but something went wrong. Then David is sent to a suspicious-looking office, where he is forced to give up all of his clothing and accessories. In the room, he meets several other hotel guests who are sitting in their underwear. They all appear to be scared and confused. Once in his room, Dave discovers that his closet is full of same-type clothes, shirts, trousers, and blazers, which he has to wear now. He sees a fancy gun on the wall. On the desk next to the bed, there are simple glasses, a watch, cologne, and 20 tranquilizer darts. Looking out the window, Dave is dumbfounded by a strange sight. It's not just his hotel neighbors standing there with the same guns. The lifeless bodies of strangers also lie on the asphalt pavement in front of them. A little later, the hotel manager and her companion come to Dave's room. The owner of the hotel asks if the man has read the booklet about the rules of staying at the hotel. He learns that there's an insane number of rules. The most important of them is to find a significant other in 45 days. Otherwise, Dave will be turned into an animal. The manager asks Dave what kind of animal he'd like to turn into in case of failure, and the man chooses a lobster. Dave likes the fact that the lobster has aristocratic blue blood. It lives for more than 100 years and can produce offspring all life. The manager is pleasantly surprised. According to her, most choose to turn into the most ordinary dog. That's why there are so many of them in the world. At the end of the meeting, they decide to teach the man a lesson about how bad it is to live alone. And they do it in an extraordinary way. His right hand is chained to his belt for a whole day, and then he's forced to get on a daily routine as if he were one-armed. On the second day of his stay, Dave goes down to have breakfast with other hotel guests. He sees that people who have managed to find a soulmate are sitting separately, and curiously watches other singles. A woman with non-ending nosebleeds and a local psychopath who allegedly has no heart. As the end of breakfast time is approaching, John and lisping Robert meet Dave. They invite the man to take a walk, and then go to the general meeting for the guests. At the meeting, Dave's new friend, John, gives a speech. He says that his mother was also a guest at this hotel, but she could not find a companion.
My mother entered the hotel but didn't make it and was turned into a wolf.
John says that he could not discern his mother amongst the wolves in the zoo, but one day he couldn't help himself and climbed right into the enclosure. Then it dawned on him, as she was the one who stayed away while the other wolves attacked him. That's how John got his specific trait, a limp. His wife, who died a few days ago, had the same trait. It becomes clear that in this hotel, you can find a companion only with a similar characteristic. On the same day, dancing with live music is arranged for the guests. Dave, John, and lisping Robert invite different women, but it doesn't work out. They're too different and can't find any common characteristics at all. And then the dancing is suddenly interrupted. It turns out that every day the residents of the hotel go to the nearest forest to shoot the loners who try to escape from the hotel. For each single person caught, the manager adds 1 day of stay. Dave fails to catch any, which can't be said about the psychopathic woman who handles the task perfectly.
Room 101, the days of your stay remain unchanged.
Time goes by. Dave has 32 days left before turning into a lobster, yet he hasn't found a significant other. However, he doesn't really try, even when one woman tries to seduce him on the bus on the way to the hunt. But his friend John is not sitting idly by. He makes a serious decision to get close with a girl whose nose is constantly bleeding, and chooses an unusual strategy for this. He hits his head on the side of the pool and stages an illness. The girl decides that she's finally found the one she was looking for, but Dave knows the truth. He saw John hurt himself. However, he does not condemn or betray his friend. Conversely, he sympathizes with him because of the torments to which he subjects himself. Later at a dance party, John and his girlfriend are officially declared a couple and given a separate room. And in case of difficulties in the relationship, they're promised a child, According to the curators, having a child usually helps solve all the problems.
If you encounter any problems, any tensions, any arguing that you cannot resolve yourselves, you will be assigned children. That usually helps a lot.
Now Dave has 7 days left before turning into a lobster. He begins to realize that he urgently needs to do something. He tries to make acquaintance with a beautiful blonde in the pool, but he fails. The woman has gorgeous hair, and she expects the same from her companion. Dave's hairstyle does not attract her much. So much so that she's ready to give up her life for the sake of her tastes. Then Dave decides to consider another lonely woman, the same heartless psychopath. Dave knows that he needs to gain her trust and act accordingly. A good moment turns up on the same day. One of the guests, who has tried to seduce Dave, falls out from the 4th floor. She breaks her bones, but does not die. Her heart-rending screams scare the whole neighborhood.
I hope she dies right away. On second thoughts, I hope she suffers quite a bit before she dies. I just hope her pathetic screams can't be heard from my room, because I was thinking about having a lie down, and I need peace and quiet.
But this little chat is still not enough to kindle the interest of the formidable lady. So, David keeps insisting. He sees his potential partner relaxing in the hot tub and sits down with her. Suddenly, the woman starts choking on an olive from a cocktail. Dave leaves the situation as is, and she continues to suffocate. Actually, he's done the right thing. In fact, it's a test for callousness which he has successfully passed. The newly made couple are given the keys to the shared room. They begin to live together and appear in public only together. Dave copes well with the role of a cold sociopath. Having met his friend John with his companion and their daughter, his behavior becomes cruel and distant. But all of this continues only until the morning when the heartless woman wakes him up and tells him the terrible news.
I killed your brother. I was kicking him for ages.
Dave struggles to contain his emotions, but still starts crying when he sees his brother's body in the bathroom. The woman catches him and realizes that Dave has lied to her about his heartless nature. She takes him to the managers for a terrible punishment, turning into an animal that no one wants to be. On the way, Dave manages to distract and stun the traitor, and he asks the hotel employee to help him. She unexpectedly agrees, and they take the lifeless body to the room for transformation into animals. That evening, Dave escapes from the hotel into the woods. For a while, Dave wanders around alone in the woods, until one of the loners finally finds him. The man gets acquainted with the leader and the rest of the group, and they allow him to stay. But Dave immediately learns that the freedom he has dreamed of so much cannot be obtained so easily. The laws in the Singles clan are no less strict than in the hotel. Touching, flirting, and relationships are forbidden, and the guilty will face a terrible corporal punishment. However, Dave believes it's even better than certain death. He engages himself in the life of the community. As he hunts, follows all the rules, and runs away from the hotel guests together with the other singles. But one day, due to his eventual recklessness, he comes face to face with his friend, Robert. Robert is horrified by what Dave has done to a heartless woman. Besides, he has a little time left in the hotel. Therefore, Robert puts out his gun, but suddenly he's stopped by a dark-haired stranger from the Singles clan.
Don't tell anyone I helped you.
Meanwhile, the hotel employee who had helped Dave get rid of the heartless woman is dating the Singles leader. She turns out to be a secret agent. The girl gives the Singles room keys and weapons for the invasion, which they plan for the weekend. But before that, the leader of the Singles needs to go shopping in the city. To do this, she takes an assistant with her, as well as David and his new dark-haired acquaintance. On the trip, Dave finds out that the woman is short-sighted, just like him. In the city, they have to pretend to be a married couple, because single people are apprehended by the police and forcibly sent to the hotel.
No, I'm here with my partner. She's inside one of the stores, shopping.
The weekend is coming, and the loners are raiding the hotel. They're trying to sow confusion among the guests and the managers by pushing the lovers into conflict.
His nose doesn't really bleed on its own. He bangs it against a wall, or a piece of hardwood, or something like that.
After returning to the forest, the relationship between Dave and the short-sighted girl is getting stronger every day. They escape from the others to the shore of the lake, and also come up with a special sign language to communicate with each other. But one day, the leader of the Singles again invites them to a sortie in the city. Portraying a married couple, Dave and his beloved get too carried away, and the leader suspects something is wrong. Once again in the forest, the couple decides to escape during the next hunt. However, the leader is ahead of them. The double agent girl informs her about secret plans. Therefore, the formidable leader goes with the short-sighted girl into the city for a vision correction operation. But in fact, the clinic is going to do something completely different with the poor woman. They blind her completely. According to the idea of the leader of the singles, only this can destroy the unwanted love that has arisen between two short-sighted people. After all, they will have nothing in common. Back in the woods, the blind girl initially pretends to have vision so as not to upset Dave. Indeed, for him, this news will mean that they will no longer be able to live in the city as a couple. But it doesn't last long, and she still tells her lover about what happened. Dave promises his companion that he will find a way out and helps her acclimatize to the new reality. After a while, the man tells his beloved that the time has come. After waiting for the leader, he stuns her and leaves her tied up in the grave that she had previously forced him to dig for himself. The leader of the loners is left alone with the hungry dogs, and Dave and the blind girl finally escape. When they get to the city, they go into the first eatery they come across. The couple doesn't order anything, but Dave asks the waiter to bring him a fork and a sharp meat knife. He goes into the public restroom and puts the knife over his eye. However, we'll never know what he was about to do. Write a comment about the best ending you can come up with for this story. Subscribe to the channel and don't miss even more interesting and unique stories.